Wings in Culver City.
Johnny, we have got a Sheng update, a big Sheng update, as the corruption trial case builds even further against her and her boyfriend and the Dong family.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Boy, every time new information comes out on the charges against her, I don't even see how she puts up a defense. Wouldn't you be trying to cut a deal at this point?
You have to be. There's no way she's winning this thing. She has got to throw everybody under the bus, and hopefully she knows where some of the bodies are buried. But ABC 7 in the Bay Area has an incredible investigative reporter, Dan Noyes, and he's been all over the Sheng Thao corruption story, and he got a one-on-one exclusive interview with the city councilman from San Leandro that was raided by the FBI 2 days before the Sheng indictment. He's finally talking, and he knows some things.
Well, and this guy, and you'll figure it out after we start playing you what he had to say, you can tell within about 30 seconds that he has the IQ of an ice cube in August.
Let's get right into this. Here is ABC 7 in the Bay Area with one hell of a Sheng update.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
When the FBI came here, were you home?
Yeah, I was home.
Only on ABC 7 News, this San Leandro City Council member describes what the FBI wanted when they raided his home 3 months ago. Now,
I don't think he was naked.
No, that was Sheng.
He's worried about being arrested. Good evening, I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. Thanks for joining us. This could be the latest link to an East Bay scandal. The investigation that has already led to the indictment of former Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao.
There's her first name check.
There will be more.
How are you? Good.
Love to shake your hand.
Yes, it's been amazing.
Her partner, plus the owner of California Waste Solutions and his son.
ABC 7 News I-Team reporter Dan Noyes joins us with an exclusive interview. Dan.
Well, and Dan, Brian Azevedo describes going on that trip to Vietnam with Sheng Thao and other public officials. It was sponsored by David Duongs, the owner of California Waste Solutions.
Yeah, this guy funded a whole bunch of corrupt politicians to go party it up in Vietnam.
I wonder what they were doing in Vietnam.
Oh, we'll find out. Stay tuned.
One of 4 people charged so far in the federal bribery and corruption case. The Duongs family that owns California Waste Solutions, recycling contractor for the cities of Oakland and San Jose.
Oh, I didn't know they were also the contractor for San Jose.
Well, maybe Matt Mahan can revisit that.
Also had a side business called Evolutionary Homes. They tried to sell shipping containers, converted to housing for the homeless, to local governments for $300,000 each.
How exactly does a shipping container cost $300,000?
I don't know, but I'd pay it if you could put the container on a ship and send it to China with the homeless person in it.
This is the scam of all scams that has to start making everyone in local government shake it in their boots on the contracts they have signed with the providers of homeless housing, shipping containers, tiny homes, all of it.
Because there's a detail that we're about to find out about that applies not just to what happened in this particular city, but also happened in Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County.
And they had a showroom at their Bayside headquarters in Oakland.
Hey, get it! Get it! Get it!
They entertained city officials with karaoke and $300 bottles of whiskey.
There is a DJ party with $300 bottles of whiskey at the showroom for the shipping containers for the homeless.
Do you know how tacky that sounds? And I'm a scotch drinker, and there's just about nothing that you could do that would keep me from drinking scotch if you made the offer, especially if it's Macallan 18, which is what they were drinking. But to show up to a warehouse in Oakland and sing karaoke with those fools? What karaoke song do you think was Sheng's? I'm guessing Kiss by Prince.
As this video shows from January of last year, posted on Instagram by Andy Duongs. He is now charged with bribery.
Yeah, this Andy Duongs is not the smartest guy because every single thing that connects him to a crooked politician was easily found on his Insta.
No, and by the way, If you did that or I did that, we'd get canceled. Let's see. I want to bribe an Asian mayor into doing something totally illegal. How can I do that? Oh, yeah, karaoke.
And I'm sure the FBI is looking at everyone else who's on Andy Dong's Instagram, which includes Rob Bonta, even Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Oh, yes.
Posted on Instagram by Andy Duongs. He is now charged with bribery, conspiracy, mail and wire fraud, and false statements. And there's Mario.
Wait, what song is that in the background that someone is just screaming through?
Let's see if we can figure this out. Everyone, turn up your eagle ears.
Posted on Instagram by Andy Duongs. He is now charged with bribery, conspiracy, mail and wire fraud, and false statements. And there's Mario.
I can't name it.
That's not Hero, is it?
Could be. If you know what that song is, send us an email at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com right now.
There's got to be some kind of AI program that we can use to figure out what song that is. If we could make the Queen of England, the dead Queen of England, say dirty things using AI, we can definitely figure out what that song is.
Oh, don't remind the audience about that.
Posted on Instagram by Andy Duongs. He is now charged with bribery, conspiracy, mail and wire fraud, and false statements. And there's Mario Juarez.
Sounds like a sack of cats being tortured.
Well, after you've consumed a whole bunch of $300 whiskey, it all is a little easier to hear.
Oh, my God. That really was like Milli Vanilli before the fraud.
Karaoke and sobriety don't go together.
No.
And there's Mario Juarez, co-founder of Evolutionary Homes.
Mario Juarez, the guy that was in the shootout with Mr. Ramos.
Yeah, someone put a hit out on him.
This was the guy that Sheng and Andre hired to print those racist posters of Lauren Taylor that then he stiffed the printer. And then when it looked like he was going to talk to the feds, the Duong family allegedly hired
24-year-old Hermelindo Ramos
to take a gun and start shooting up this guy.
And didn't they spray the house with bullets like it was some kind of mafia hit?
Yes, except they're both such bad shots. He was shooting at them, they were shooting at him, and nobody hit anybody.
And he ran out in the street and was firing his gun just off into the night.
So that guy is the co-founder of the crooked shipping container homeless shelter company.
Co-founder of Evolutionary Homes, now a key.
You cannot even write a script this ridiculous. Nobody would buy it.
No.
But I can't wait for the made-for-TV movie.
No, this is a remedial mob movie.
Now a key witness for the prosecution who is listed in the federal indictment as co-conspirator 1. And that's Brian Azevedo, San Leandro City Council member.
This is the guy that got raided by the FBI 2 days before the indictments came down on Sheng and Andre and the Duongs.
And by the way, if you're wondering how we have video and audio and still pictures of all of these bribes taking place, it's because these dummies put it all up on social media.
Yeah, and I was just...
Well, they probably were pretty sure that nobody in the state was ever going to investigate them because the number one recipient of dong money in Alameda County has been Rob Bonta and his wife, Mia Bonta. They didn't think the feds were going to be looking into this.
Oh, no, they thought they had the golden ticket.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there hanging out with them, listening to them. Yeah, they're friends. I mean, do you see anything wrong with that? Maybe, see...
Okay, this is the newest guy in this twisted tale, Brian Acevedo, the city councilman from San Leandro, and he's a gem.
What do you think his IQ legitimately is? You think it breaks room temperature?
Well, we're just hanging out, having a good time in the showroom for the homeless shelters.
Drinking expensive scotch and singing karaoke with a man who's been charged federally.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there hanging out with them, listening to them. Yeah, they're friends. I mean, do you see anything wrong with that?
Dan Noyes is fantastic.
He's speaking for all of us there.
Maybe, see, as politics, you know, since I come from construction, maybe I'm a little naive on some things. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest.
Nothing says honesty like lots of nervous giggling and saying, I'm being honest.
That's about as close to a confession as it gets.
No, maybe I'm a little naive on some things. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest.
If you were to write that dialogue into a script, that would be edited out.
Azevedo was a sheet metal worker and foreman. His part-time position on the city council brings $30,000 a year in pay and benefits. After he did not return my email and phone calls about the FBI raid at his home, I approached him at a city council meeting, and he agreed to an interview the following day.
Yeah, he knew the jig was up at that point.
Oh, yes. There would be reporters staked out in front of his house if he didn't talk to him.
Well, because Dan Noyes is going to get his story whether you want to be a part of it or not, and it's going to be better for you if you're a part of it.
I'm not so sure about that.
Tell me how you first met Andy Duong, and when was it?
I believe I met him about 10 years ago.
It seems to me, though, that at least looking through your social media, and his as well, that
Nobody ever deleted any of these videos after the FBI raids?
No, he's like a teenage girl. Everything he did went up on social media because he wanted you to know that he was drinking expensive scotch and partying with important people and going to basketball games and football games and concerts.
As soon as you have any idea that the feds are onto you, do like Baccaria and
Scrub it.
I don't think they can. I think there are certain people who are just addicted to social media and they cannot live their lives privately. Everything they eat, everything they do, every place they go, every plane they fly on has to end up on social media.
not the greatest strategy if you're running a criminal enterprise.
No.
As well, that you guys are tight. I mean,
well, we know each other. Yeah, we hung out. Yeah, he kind of reminded me of one of those frat brothers. Sometimes.
Oh boy.
Okay, that statement's going to come back to haunt him.
But he's a great guy.
public records show
He's a great guy, the one that bribed Sheng and her boyfriend.
Okay, let's see what this frat boy did in Vietnam. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Public records show that Azevedo helped promote the Duongs' business, Evolutionary Homes, setting up visits to the showroom for San Leandro city officials and staff.
Oh, no.
Bad idea.
So this guy, just because, it was his friend, decides to rope the mayor of San Leandro into going to the showroom with the $300 bottles of whiskey, just in case the city would like to buy one of these $300,000 shipping containers.
This guy may luck out that the other members of the council regard him as being a dim bulb, and he wasn't able to come through on any of this.
Money never changed hands in San Leandro, and that might be why he may not get arrested by the FBI.
For once, someone will benefit from stupidity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Johnny,
not her.
Johnny, we're just getting started here. We are not even 3 minutes into this 9-minute epic saga of Brian Acevedo, the San Leandro city councilman who is now connected to Sheng and Andre and the Duongs.
If I didn't see this piece earlier today, there's no way I would believe it to be true. Coming up after the news at 1, it's the Fix California Hour. Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown joins us.
Willie's coming on the show?
Willie is going to be right here at the top of the hour. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you want to go back and listen to an old Sheng episode when we talked about the scandal right after it broke, or right after her home was raided, or right after she was charged, that's easy to do.
There is so much Sheng out there, and we covered all of that. From day one, we were on to Sheng Thao.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In fact, I like to think that we discovered Sheng. Nobody else was talking about what was going on. People were talking about Oakland, but no one knew what was going on with their new mayor until we came on the scene. So listen to The John Phillips Show by searching for it on Apple Podcasts.
Absolutely.
iHeartRadio.
And he said absolutely.
Spotify.
Absolutely.
Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. You can even do a Google on the YouTube and search for The John Phillips Show that way. Either way, there is so much Sheng out there, and you got to catch up with the whole story.
Like, don't waste our time. We have a whole city to run.
Oh, I remember the day that we discovered her like it was yesterday. She was sitting at the counter of an old Schwab's drugstore sipping on a chocolate malt, and you and I both looked at her at the same time and said, that kid has talent.
Not a day goes by where I don't wish I could just wave a magic wand and silence the gunfire.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Hey, look at this. The LA County Fair is back, celebrating its 103rd anniversary May 2nd through the 26th. Don't miss the LA County Fair concert series. Tickets on sale at lacountyfair.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-222. That's 1-888-795-222. Gets a pair of tickets to see Cheap Trick on Friday, May 23rd. Tickets furnished by the LA County Fair. Good luck dialing.
As wild as this story has been so far, Randy, you can verify what I'm about to say to be true. It takes another totally unexpected turn that's more bonkers than what you've heard so far.
That,
Get comfy, turn up the radio. You're about to hear some details about Sheng and the crew's trip to Vietnam.
And it involves adult content.
Absolutely.
And massage parlors.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
Right now, we're going through all the latest in the federal government's efforts to put embattled former Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao in prison.
Let's go back to this incredible report from ABC 7 in the Bay Area's Dan Noyes as he interviews the San Leandro city councilman who got raided by the FBI 2 days before the Sheng indictment, who had lots of interactions with the Duong family and went on that infamous trip to Vietnam with Sheng.
Let's hear it.
How did your involvement with Evolutionary Homes come about?
I can't remember everything clearly, but I remember.
That doesn't sound good.
No, especially with the siren in the background.
This is Brian Acevedo.
I can't remember everything clearly, but I remember they were reaching out to several elected officials, and I went and I toured, and other elected officials, hundreds, I heard, elected officials came and visit the homes.
Several hundred elected officials came to visit the showroom for the Duong family for their $300,000 shipping containers.
Okay, this is where this guy being on the radar of the FBI should scare the bejesus out of all of them. He's too dumb to know that what he's saying is going to not only get himself in trouble, but he's going to take everyone else down with him.
Absolutely.
San Leandro's former city manager tells me Acevedo arranged for her to tour the Evolutionary Home showroom, and that during that visit, the Duongs pushed for this emergency homeless declaration.
Oh, boy.
Okay, this is exactly what happened in L.A. City and L.A. County. They came in with an emergency declaration on day one, and you say to yourself, okay, that's just declaring it to be a massive problem. No, it's not just that. It allows you to award no-bid contracts to your friends.
Emergency homeless declaration. It would allow the city to buy units from Evolutionary Homes without getting bids from any other companies.
We need to look at every single contract that has been procured through the emergency declaration in LA City and LA County going back to 2023, because that's what these things are really about.
You remember all of the fraud and graft that took place during COVID when everyone was trying to get masks and gowns and gloves and those sorts of things. Well, that same thing is going on right now with homeless spending, where the process isn't open, bids aren't coming in, contracts are just being awarded to politically connected firms.
The emergency homeless declaration met resistance from the San Leandro City Council and mayor.
There was a number of us who did not understand why we needed to pass an emergency declaration.
The council voted.
Well, it was so the Duongs could get a whole bunch of money.
That's right.
The council voted to.
I mean, what do you think they paid for these shipping containers? $100?
Couldn't have been much.
It's quite the flip. You buy them for $100. You maybe spend $1,000 making them look like they're habitable, and then you sell them for $300,000 to a city.
Seems like a money-making scheme to me.
The council voted to kill the declaration.
Councilmember Acevedo,
No.
With his no vote, Azevedo tried in vain to save it. Law enforcement has not accused Azevedo of doing anything wrong.
Yet.
They didn't with Sheng either. Remember, she kept reminding us of that?
She wasn't the target of the investigation until she was.
And he's not mentioned in the public court documents filed so far in the FBI's bribery and corruption case. The indictment says former Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao promised to use her position to purchase 100 units from Evolutionary Homes.
100 shipping containers.
And she was going to sell it to the people of Oakland like she was doing something proactive about their homeless problem. But, Randy, that leads to the question, what's in it for her?
In exchange for a $300,000 no-show job with the company for her partner, Andre Jones.
By the way, that's a totally fair deal. She spends $30 million that the city of Oakland did not have so she could get a $300,000 bribe for her boyfriend.
That's the best deal the Duong family made.
The documents also say the parties discussed increasing Jones's salary up to $3 million if Oakland purchased 300 housing units.
So the taxpayers are on the hook for everything, and her boyfriend is the one that gets paid off, allegedly.
There was a bonus structure. He gets more money from the Duong family for every shipping container that the city of Oakland buys.
And these geniuses were smart enough to put it in writing.
And that he would earn a bonus of $10,000 per unit sold.
Was Sheng going to see any of this money, or was this all for Andre?
Well, I'm sure she thought she was going to see some of the money, but as soon as he got the deal, my guess is he'd leave to go pick up a pack of cigarettes, and that's the last she'd see of him.
I mean, we do know at the inauguration party, he invited his, quote, ex-girlfriend, which really pissed Sheng off.
Well, he was walking arm in arm to the inauguration with the ex-girlfriend.
A source with knowledge of the FBI investigation tells me agents are checking if Brian Azevedo had any sort of financial agreement with the Duongs to sell Evolutionary Homes to the city of San Leandro.
See, his defense has got to be, no, I'm just so dumb I thought this was a good idea.
Yeah, he couldn't convince his colleagues to do it. So I think he's probably in the clear. You can't throw someone in prison for selling something that they couldn't sell.
Money never changed hands in San Leandro, luckily. But what other cities had contracts to buy these shipping containers from the Duongs?
It's a good question.
Was there some arrangement between you and the Duongs in terms of, we'll give you a percentage if you sell X number of units?
He's getting a commish.
Let's see if he worked out a deal as good as Andre.
I don't remember nothing, no.
For you to say, I don't remember, is not going to look good for people. I mean,
I don't remember.
Dan Noyes is the best. The Bay Area doesn't even deserve him. He's so good.
Is not going to look good for people. I mean, clearly, me as a person.
I don't want to comment on that because, no, there was no arrangement on that.
That's a weird way to frame that answer.
He started out by saying, I don't remember. And then when he realized if the answer is yes, he's going to get in trouble, he worked his way to no. My guess is, and this is just a theory I'm throwing out, maybe there was one that was presented, but because he couldn't get to 3 votes on the council, it never actually happened.
Azevedo told me the Duongs did make legal contributions to his campaign for mayor in 2022.
I can't remember.
Let's not forget who else has been getting money from the Duong family. $50,000 of Duong money went to Barbara Lee for the last 20 years.
Quite frankly.
That's right.
Don't you worry. Now that she's mayor, she's going to clean up that city.
Oh, I'm sure.
I can't remember exactly. I think it was $3,000 from the Duong family and $2,000 from Andy. So that's $5,000. And then the other elections, I don't remember. I think he gave me $250 here or there.
Campaign records confirm those
It's shocking how easy it is to buy off certain local politicians.
Oh, these people are selling way too cheap.
Campaign records confirm those contributions. Azevedo lost the election for mayor by less than 300 votes. And beyond the...
So the Duongs wanted to put this guy in the mayor's seat.
And they got real close.
And beyond the On the table contributions, there were no envelopes with cash under the table.
No.
As a
I wonder why he whispered that.
Do you think he regretted doing this interview as he was doing it?
If he doesn't, he should.
I mean, I'm glad he did.
Yeah, we all are.
Azevedo also reported a $6,400 gift from the Vietnamese American Business Association, a business advocacy group founded and headed by the Duong family.
Okay, this is where this story's about to take a weird and dirty little turn in Vietnam. So everyone get ready. This story's about to get even crazier.
We're all going to the seedy part of town. Right now, we're going through all the latest in the federal investigation on former Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao.
And it's time for the interview with Dan Noyes and San Leandro City Councilman Brian Acevedo to fess up about what exactly happened on that trip to Vietnam with a whole bunch of politicians and the Duong family, funded by the Duong family.
Azevedo also reported a $6,400 gift from the Vietnamese American Business Association, a business advocacy group founded and headed by the Duong family, for a trip to Vietnam during the summer of 2023. David Duong started Vietnam Waste Solutions 20 years ago. Note the same logo as his California company.
Oh, boy, is this getting crooked.
Yeah.
Some of Azevedo's colleagues at San Leandro City Hall wondered why Azevedo got the invitation to travel to Vietnam.
Gee, I wonder why.
Actually, I think I know the answer. Did they possibly want something in return for it?
Maybe.
I was not clear on the purpose of the trip at the time. He was not...
Just a contractor that I wanted to do business with the city with offered me a business class trip to Vietnam, and I said, hell yeah.
But it was not an official trip related to city duties.
No, this is just him and his frat buddy, Andy.
He was not representing us in an official capacity. In other words, the city did not send him on any sort of trade mission.
Trade mission in air quotes.
Was Sheng there in an official capacity?
Well, she was the girl boss of Oakland. So what she says goes.
I can get that.
Did San Leandro actually get anything concrete from your trip to Vietnam?
Well, I was invited because we have a big population of Vietnamese here in San Leandro. We have almost 15%, so I was there representing them.
Sure.
We'll go with that.
And their beliefs and their culture.
Azevedo posted photos from the trip on Facebook, his business class flight, sightseeing with Andy Duong.
Every piece of evidence collected for this case is coming straight from their own social media.
I'm telling you, even if you're not doing illegal things, posting nonstop in social media is not a good idea.
With Mayor Sheng Thao, Alameda County Supervisor Lena Tam, Sheriff Yesenia Sanchez, actor Danny Glover.
Wait, what?
The hell was he doing there?
A whole bunch of Alameda County officials and Danny Glover?
Maybe the Duongs are big fans of Angels in the Outfield.
Actor Danny Glover and various officials from Vietnam.
Cheers! Yeah, all right!
And Andy Duong posted this video of the trip to Instagram of Azevedo toasting the entourage.
Oh, boy.
That is not going to look good in front of a jury.
Various nightlife scenes and a pedicure.
Okay.
And he took video while they were doing his feet.
Yeah, I know we got massages. And
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Yeah, I know we got massages. And we were at places there was women around, but that doesn't mean I did anything.
What's with the giggling, Brian?
Okay, so the allegation is that the Duongs took this guy and Sheng and everyone on that trip to a rub and tug.
Apparently.
Did anything.
When Azevedo returned to San Leandro from the 12-day trip to Vietnam, he told me rumors started to swirl.
Oh, well, you know, Brian had prostitutes and drugs in Vietnam. And
Whoa!
Boy, the Duongs know how to host.
Well, if you're going to bribe them, you might as well bribe them.
Okay, But don't you have to pick different things for different people? What's Sheng going to do at an illicit massage parlor?
Oh, she probably had to wait in the lobby while Andre got to have whatever he wanted.
Combo platter number 4.
Oh, well, you know, Brian had prostitutes and drugs in Vietnam, and so I had businesses coming up to me telling me, yeah. And I'll explain to you like I did with the FBI about the drugs.
As of
It sounds like they had a real good time.
It's never good when you're referring to it as the drugs.
Azevedo says the FBI questioned him about the Vietnam trip, about being stopped at customs on the way home, but that it wasn't for drugs. He tells me he packed 5 souvenirs.
Well, who brings the cocaine home with them?
No, I think what they're doing is, if the allegation that he claims is that he brought drugs home with him, well, that's something that's provably false if you went through customs and they didn't find any drugs. But if the drugs were consumed there, that's a different story that he's not answering a question to.
He tells me he packed 5 souvenir lighters from a Vietnamese casino, including this one.
And they told me I can only keep one. That's how rumors get out.
Did the Duongs give you a little play-in money? We know that's how the scam in Los Angeles worked with the city council and Mitch Englander.
Oh, I have a good friend who is in casino security, and they keep a very close eye on using poker chips to launder money, because that's something that is extremely common when you're trying to bribe someone or you're trying to give money to someone that's not traceable.
That's how rumors get out there, yeah. Yeah, they were saying we had prostitutes, all this stuff. Yeah, we got massages. That doesn't mean they're prostitutes.
Wasn't it the pit boss in Vegas that think to the FBI that Jose Huizar was compromised?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And how many times has he gone back to referencing the massages?
Quite a bit.
That's how rumors get out there, yeah. Yeah, they were saying we had prostitutes, all this stuff. Yeah, we got massages. That doesn't mean they're prostitutes. We had people serving drinks or whatever.
Wait, in the massage parlor?
Okay, so there's girls around you, and they're serving drinks at the massage parlor, but he didn't regard it as prostitution.
Well, he probably didn't have to pay.
At what point, have you ever been served a cocktail at a Burke Williams?
I have not. Usually they want you to be as clean as possible, and they give you herbal tea.
But no sex acts were exchanged.
No. Any thoughts on as you face these charges today?
On January 17th of this year, the FBI arrested California Waste Solutions founder and president David Duong, his son Andy, former Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao, and her partner Andre Jones, and charged them in the bribery and corruption case. Just 2 days before,
get out of your house with your hands up.
The FBI raided Brian Azevedo's house at 6 in the morning.
My house was trashed. The garage was trashed.
What did they take?
They took cell phones, laptops.
Pretty much the same stuff they took from Sheng's house.
I love the fact that it was like a DEA raid where they just trashed his entire house.
And iPads.
Azevedo tells me he hasn't retained an attorney yet because they're so expensive.
Okay, that might be the stupidest thing uttered in this entire story.
Yeah, you need to start looking for coins in your couch cushions there, buddy.
And by the way, I'm totally convinced that that's a true statement, because if he had an attorney, no way in hell would they advise him to do this interview.
I'll tell you, just when you think this story can't take another turn, it does.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll be keeping a close eye on this one.